Okay, so here we are on December 31st, 2016. This is our power or our joyful, vibrant life end of the year, end of the 9-year era retreat. And I want to welcome everyone who is intending to be here live and everyone who is intending to show up in the recording. The energy still works. Energy goes where thought flows, and you know, it transcends time and space. So however you're getting this, even if you're getting this 9 years from now, we welcome you to this opportunity to join in with this collective focus to retreat a little bit from the pressures and the rush of this time of year and this season, and come in and review where you've been and get ready for where you're going. So how we're going to do this is that we're going to talk a little bit about why we're doing it now, and then we're going to go into a quick visualization to help you gather where your awareness of where you've been and who you've become over this past 9-year cycle, and then move into getting really extracting and receiving the gifts and treasures that have culminated in this year, in this time and space being 2016, so that you can move forward into 2017 or the next year and onward into the next cycle. So this is the reason that we're calling this the end of an era, is because Amanda and I were looking at the numerology, and we noticed that if you add the year together, the numbers of the year, 2 plus 1 plus 6, 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 6, you come up with 9. And 9 is, numerologically speaking, the end of a cycle. Cycles run in 9-year phases. So that's, and then when you add up 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7, you come up with 1. So next year embodies the energy of a whole new year. Now you may have, if you follow numerology, you may have a personal year where personally you may be in the middle of a cycle. So what we're going to do here, even though we're making it applicable to this point in time and space, you can do at any point where you feel that you're having coming to a close on something and need to reflect and gather everything that you gained from the experience so that you can move forward into the new beginning, whenever that is for you. So Amanda, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think so. Other than, I don't know if you were going to speak on top of it being the end of the 9-year cycle, the Mercury in retrograde, introspection.
Oh yeah.
Or anything like that. Also with the new moon.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of introspection that's going to kind of be right here at the end, the cusp. And then hopefully we're going to be moving forward into finding out what didn't work and what's going to work, and coming up with the new creative ideas, because that's what the next year is supposed to be about.
Yes, it's going to be a year full of new creations, and one of the things that I did want to make a point about was, you know, not only is everybody at a different experience in this cycle, and we've come together collectively at the end of this year to reflect on this last cycle, but also everyone is, just lost my train of thought. Gosh. And everything kind of goes very easily these days. So
I'm not sure where you're going, or I'll try to help you.
yeah. All of a sudden I lost my train of thought. And you know, that's been my experience with my own inner reflection coming into this period. Oh, I know what it was. You know, this is like when you follow like the retrograde cycles, it's kind of the collective energy that allows us to sort of take a step back and reflect. And in astrology, or in the astrological workings of the Mercury retrograde, it's about turning inward to reflect on what has and hasn't worked. And it's in Capricorn. We're in the sun sign of Capricorn right now. And Capricorn is about taking one step at a time, going up the hill. Capricorn is the goat, right? It's going up the hill, and a goat is, goats can climb up these rocky mountains and mountain ranges and still have their footing. And that's really what the energy of Capricorn is about, is like taking that next practical step and putting one foot in front of the other and slowly climbing up that hill. So this is a time to go inward and reflect on how you have done that, how you can get better footing as you move forward and continue to climb. And it's really focused on the practical aspects of what's going on in your life. So the collective energies and the collective focus right now is really primed for this type of reflection and closing up old things. And even if you don't follow numerology or even believe in it, or astrology or anything, or human design as we do, or anything like that, you can kind of feel that, we're going through some shifts and changes right now. We have been for the last 9 years. And if you were able to download the preparation, the 4-page worksheet that we sent out in your email when you signed up, there were 3 pages where you could go back and just review what happened over the last 9 years. And you may have discovered quite a few things about how life is just not quite the same, or that something began back in 2007 that actually is, has taken you through this whole cycle, and you're at a different place on the mountain as you have climbed up. So if you didn't get that, don't worry about it. Amanda just put it in our chat box, and when we go to air the recording, we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. It was just to get your mindset around get you through the data year-to-year review of what happened, because we're going to go deeper inside during this time that we have together, so that you can get past the what of everything, the stories of all of the events and the milestones that happened, and get into really the meat of what you can take with you, what you have inside of you, and how you have grown, and what you have become because of that. So you can go back and do that at any time and review this recording when you get the recording. So no worries about not having done your homework. You're fine. You may want to print out page 4 for today, or you can print it out at a later date and make some notes today and go back and just use that as a note-taking sheet for yourself. And when we get to that point when you will need it, I'll let you know. So let's see, what do we have for housekeeping here? I made some notes. Basically, my housekeeping point here is that you can relax. This isn't your last chance to do a review of your life. Like, this isn't the last day before your whole world changes. And I remember what I was going to say. These shifts, even though you can feel the significance, the monumental significance of impending changes, or changes that you're just beginning, it doesn't mean that things are shifting that quickly. They could, but usually something new emerges, and there's like a gestation period. We can use a woman's pregnancy as an example of that. That for the first 3 months of pregnancy, usually people don't know, at least people who aren't the woman who's pregnant, don't know that there is a pregnancy, because nothing is showing, nothing is quite apparent or physically manifested yet. So, don't expect necessarily for you to do this whole review and this whole introspective, this set of introspective exercises and then wake up tomorrow morning and be in a whole different place, because that's just not how the progression of life works. If things do shift suddenly, then you're ready for it, and awesome, awesome, good. Whether you consider the shift to be positive or negative, that's just kind of a perception, but it means that you're ready for whatever it is, and you are ready for that leap. But for the rest of us, we're just plodding along, gestating, birthing little things, and seeing what takes hold. So just relax. We are going to have a couple of opportunities to chat, and had there been more people on the line, actually, we would probably break up into breakout rooms, but I think we can probably just do our chat here. We will share your chat with everyone who signed up for the group. We're actually going to put this on YouTube, so the private stuff that you're sharing here is really meant for the people who are here in spirit and here physically. So we won't be putting your sharing out to the public on YouTube. That will be cut out. So feel free to open up and be vulnerable if you feel called to do so. Amanda, do you have anything else that you would like to add to that? Anything?
I think you covered what I thought so far. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody, Carrie or Diane, do you have anything that you need to ask? Also, there's a chat box over here on your screen that you can ask questions into if you want. Or you can just unmute yourself.
Okay. Diane,
okay, great.
Just now.
All right, so we're going to go through an exercise that is going to just help you get your spirit and intention around the gathering of your experiences from the last 9 years and where you've been and how you have become through those experiences. And Carrie says all's good. Good. So bear with us while we do our tech here. We went through it yesterday, and Amanda's got the helm on that, so she's going to pull us up a screen to share a visual and a little music. I think we all kind of need a pause. And especially at the end of this year, it seems like there has just been so much pressure that it's a good time to pause, and the culmination of years probably has contributed to that pressure. So it's time to make use of that to catapult us into the new thing. Okay. So let's just breathe and relax and just let go of the rush of the season. So much happens this time of year. And you can choose to keep your eyes open and focus upon this image as you listen to these waves. Or you can close your eyes and use your inner imagination to move you along this exercise. So as you breathe, begin to let go of the physical place where you are right now. Just let go of the awareness that you're sitting in a chair or lying down and in a room a physical room that you recognize. And allow your imagination to take you to a flat, warm rock in the midst of the sea of your life. You're sitting on this rock, just taking in the warmth and allowing yourself to feel supported by it as the water dances by in waves. Floating around the rock. So you're going to anchor yourself into this new place. Just tune into your spine and imagine that you have a cord coming down through your spine, your pelvis, your feet, and right out down through the rock, and anchor it right into the center of the earth. And continue to breathe and relax as you feel yourself anchoring into this new place. And now imagine that you have a cord coming through the top of your head, coming from your spine up through the top of your head. And it just reaches up into the sky, above the clouds, as far as you can imagine. And this anchors you into the higher awareness, the broader awareness from the metaphorical heavens. So here you are, anchored and secured in your place between heaven and earth. And as you sit here on this comfortable, flat, warm rock, you look out and you see the ocean stretching out in front of you. And to your right is the shoreline. You see 9 small beaches that are all somewhat separate, not by much, maybe a few rocks here and there, but they're all connected. You can walk from one to the next if you were walking on the shore. And the water is lapping up onto each beach. And you look out and you see that each beach represents a year in your life. The ones up close are the most recent years. It's easy to see what's on the shore of this past year and the year before that, and maybe even the year before that. But as you follow the shoreline, you notice that it's harder and harder to see the beaches of each of the years from the more distant past. But you keep following it out as you watch the ocean stretching out in front of you, until you get to the 9th beach, way out in the distance. You can barely see the sand out there, but something catches your eye. Something is glinting and sparkling in the water. and it catches your attention, and it's floating toward you, getting closer and closer. And as it floats toward you in the water, it stops briefly at each beach. And as it stops, you notice that with each stop, it gets a little brighter, a little sparklier, a little bit bigger. It's moving closer to you and closer to you until it bobs right up to where you are, sitting on that rock. And you notice that it's a huge orb of light. And you recognize it as a time capsule that has collected everything that's significant from the past 9 years. You reach into the water and you go to pick it up, and as you reach for it, you realize that it contains everything that you've received from your experiences in the past 9 years, everything that you've learned. And it also contains the essence and awareness of who you have become because of all of these experiences and lessons. So you pick up the orb, expecting that you're going to have to find how to get into it to open up what's inside. But you notice that as you pick it up, it dissolves like ethereal grains of sand that just slip through your fingers. And as it slips through your fingers, it turns into this light that's dancing like a stream of light right into the depths of the sea. And you want so much to just dive in and follow that stream of light. But before you can do so, you notice that the orb left you with a message in your hands about who you have become. And you recognize this as significant for the next steps in your journey. So you open your hands, and within your hands is a word or a phrase or a sentence to remind you of who you are. So just make note of this word or this phrase or this sentence that really sums up who you've become from your experiences over this past cycle. And as you sit here on this flat rock with this reminder of who you are, you take that reminder and you put it right into your heart. You take your hands and you put them right onto your chest and allow that reminder to sink in very deeply. And as you're reminded of this essence of yourself and how you have blossomed, you recognize that this year has solidified all of the experiences of the past 9 years and have made you into the person that you are today. So now take a few deep breaths. And begin to temporarily bring yourself back to the awareness of your physical space. And if your eyes are closed, go ahead and open your eyes. And Amanda, if you can shift us back into the room, that would be lovely. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, we have a couple more people who've joined us. Welcome. Welcome, Molly and Laura, and of course, Carrie's here, and Diane. And I think what we can do is go ahead and unmute everyone. If you've got noise in the background, go ahead and mute yourself out. But you'll get a chance to share about some awarenesses that maybe you got from this aspect of our journey today. And we'd love to hear about the message that you got about who you've become, if that feels appropriate to you. And I'm going to unmute everyone. So where have the last 9 years taken you in your journey to yourself? Who have you become in this last 9 years? How have you changed your experience of yourself? How has it evolved? Okay, I'll start. Because I've been doing a lot of looking back, and I'm not even really the same person that I was in 2007. So basically, you know, I was married to a different person, doing a different thing, different occupation, and just living in a different geographical area. Diane, I'm so delighted that you're on the phone, because our mutual friend was actually from my past life, you know, and had no idea about human design at that point, or any of that. And who I am now is someone who's a lot clearer, especially in this last year of really wrestling with who I am professionally. Working with broadening and letting go of some preconceived notions about who I thought I was through my work. And it's just been a really interesting ride. Thinking 9 years ago then that in order for me to be successful, in order for me to be happy, my life had to look a certain way. And here I am at the end of this cycle, happier and more successful than I've ever been, more balanced and energized and full of life force than I've ever been, and realizing that it's not really about what I do, but it's about how I be and move in the world, and how I relax into allowing myself to be taken along and shown things through other people about myself that I wouldn't have really known if I was trying to go out there and just make my life happen. And it's been quite a deconstruction process. I think I'm at the end of my first 7-year deconditioning cycle, and in this 7 years, it's just been amazing. And then when I look back to the 2 years before, I remember that point in my life where I thought it was going in a certain direction, and I was teaching some workshops back then in energy healing, and I remember around this time I was finishing up a workshop, and the lady that was hosting it said, okay, let's schedule the next one. And I looked ahead and said, I can't, because something's coming, something's going to change, and I don't know what it is. And little did I know that several months later, I would separate from my first husband, and my life would begin to deconstruct. It was really an interesting, sometimes desperate, sometimes scary time that has given me a lot of strength as I've moved forward and opened up to being shown what the best direction is for me rather than trying to make it happen. So that's my story. Wow. That's powerful. Calm, kind, patient. Mm-hmm. Does anyone else want to share? It's not a requirement. And like I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to put the recording out and you can go back through it and do this at your own pace. New beginnings don't usually start right away and old endings don't end right away. So you have time.
Yes.
What an image. What an image. Yes, and Diane says, trusting self, very powerful. Yeah. And, I want to invite you all to take these words in for yourself, even though you may not have, everybody has something different, like the golden key, the image of the golden key, the trust of self, the kindness and the peace and the patience and all of that. I'll add trust and openness as some of the words that have come to me. We can take all of these in collectively and use them to strengthen our journey forward. So thank you for sharing all of that. Amanda, did you have something you wanted to?
Sure. But going back to the golden key, I looked it up online what a key would symbolize and seeing it in a dream or I guess in meditation. It symbolizes opening yourself up to new ideas, opportunities, perspectives, and knowledge, or maybe unlocking secrets and memories that have been repressed deep inside the consciousness.
Wow. Powerful. Powerful.
I too got a symbol at first, and then I got a word afterwards when you were in the middle and then you said a word and I was like, what is this? And but it ended up saying, I saw a crown, a golden crown. Mm-hmm. And then it said queen. And I'm like, well, I'm not a queen. I don't know. But then I looked up what the crown meant symbolically, and it said it was to acknowledge your own success and recognize your ability to forge ahead in life, which to me is really powerful and important because I'm coming through my 9-year cycle into an end. Mine started in 2007 with my husband getting the opportunity to buy a moving business, and I don't think we thought it all the way through, and my husband just kind of barreled through and did what he thought he wanted to. We thought we wanted more material objects and things, and we were in a place where we were doing really well, but we weren't in the bigger house and the fancier cars and things like that. And he thought that it would give us more security. Little did we know along the lines, it really didn't give us more security. It made, we got other things in a new house and things like that, but we realized halfway through, probably a couple of years ago, so right at the end of the cycle, that that wasn't something that either one of us wanted. I actually never really wanted to buy the business to begin with. I was scared half to death and kind of worried about the responsibilities. I didn't see that it would change our relationship, but it did. I went to work with him, and it kind of opened up a lot of things. We went through, well, I went to counseling because I was having panic attacks and things like that, and doing some kind of obsessive compulsive kind of things to keep me safe and secure, but I was completely limiting myself, like panicking on the road and not going that way again, not crossing over bridges, not going in traffic, not going in construction, having to have certain things, certain ways to make myself feel okay and safe. And, you know, I finally realized, you know, maybe I need to go and talk to someone. So I did that, and come to find out, she asked for me to bring my husband in. And halfway through that, we realized, oh, we're going to marriage counseling. So we ended up doing that and getting through all of that. And then through that counseling, my husband realized he was not happy, and that everything that he thought that this business was going to do for us it wasn't what he thought that he was going to get, or it wasn't what he wanted once he perceived it. So we've gone through the cycle for the past several years of repeatedly coming through financial stresses with the business and things like that, showing signs, you know, that we were kind of in crisis and that it was something that we needed to release. And finally, in this year, we did. We have sold the business and closed, and we're coming to the end of that cycle. And now we're kind of at the beginning of, wow, we're 43, 44 years old. We're starting back over again. But seeing the blessings, looking back and seeing, had he not wanted us to go down that route of buying that moving business, I don't know if, I don't think that the moving business was, and buying that business was what was going on with my anxiety and our relationship issues. I think that that brought us into shining the light on those things. And had we not gone in that direction, I'm not sure where we would be now. So even though he thought, you know, wow, I'm a failure, I brought us down this road and we're having to get rid of all of this and start over, I see it as a blessing, because had he not done that, I'm not sure we would have ever got to a place of saying, hey, we need to work on ourselves and help our relationship. So the crown to me, you know, even though I don't see myself as a queen, I will say that. The crown to me just makes me feel powerful. Makes me feel like I've done something in these past 9 years. I've gone through many changes like you have. I'm not the same person. I'm actually better for all of those trials and tribulations. So it's kind of nice to know they're placing a crown on me. So
yeah.
I think that it will help me move forward in this next 9-year cycle to know, you know, that I'm not vulnerable and a victim. I am a powerful person.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, and you brought up, and Carrie says, beautiful, thank you. Well done, Amanda, from Diane. Courageous and beautiful. Courageous is another word that we can add in there, and beautiful is definitely another word. And Carrie says she can relate so much to what you say. And you really did, your story really did bring out a very important point that, you know, in my life, having, you know, gone from, you know, a whole other idea of where I thought I was going. You know, I lost a home and a marriage, and my mother passed away and all of that. And you know, and there was bankruptcy and seeming financial ruin and, you know, all kinds of things that could be interpreted as failure. Just like, you know, your husband, Amanda, was interpreting this experience of this business as failure. And it's not really failure, it's experience.
Yes.
And
it's growth. I think that it's beautiful. I mean, I don't think that any of us would be where we are had we not gone through and climbed that little, like, we're going back to the little Capricorn.
Yeah, the Capricorn goat.
Climbing those mountains.
Yeah. So
it might be rocky and we might kind of stumble a little bit, but we made it to the top and we're about to kind of go back out there.
We've just finished up looking back over the last 9 years, and we're getting ready to go into this awareness that, you know, everything that was maybe perceived as failure or perceived as loss or perceived as triumph even, and everything that we've gained over these last 9 years has culminated in this 9th year and solidified in this 9th year. And now it's time to get and receive the gifts of that and the treasures of that. And for this part, this is going to be about a 25-minute meditation. So that's why I asked if we could, you know, if you guys could stay, because if you may have already done it, but it's about coming through your year and gathering the treasures of the year. So we're going to start back on the rock again, where we were looking back over the shorelines of the past 9 years, and we're going to go deep dive with that. So, and you're going to have a guide, and Amanda's going to get us onto that page, onto that. Take a few moments to come into your present moment, into your awareness of where you are right now. Breathe deeply and let go of any distractions or tensions or outside concerns. Feel your abdomen and chest filling up on your inhales, and on your exhales, feel the tension in your body letting go, as though you're letting the air out of a balloon. Do this a few more times, breathing in and breathing out. And as you do so, feel your feet on the ground where you are in this moment. You are about to embark upon a journey where you will be illuminated and guided into a greater wisdom and awareness of where you've come and where you are in your life. So imagine that you're sitting on a strong, sturdy, large rock in the middle of a beautiful, shimmering, clear, aquamarine body of water. You feel stable and supported upon this rock. And you watch the sunlight glint across the water. And as you follow the glitter of the sunlight to the horizon, you notice that the sun is just right there at the horizon's line. And it's not quite clear to you if the sun is rising or the sun is setting. And you recognize that a beginning and an ending are the same thing. So sitting there upon your rock, you feel the smoothness of the stone, and it's warm, and it warms you, and you sense anticipation for this journey that you're about to take. So just breathe and relax upon your rock and look out upon the horizon. And way off in the distance, you see some movement of a creature that appears to be swimming toward you. And as this creature swims closer, you realize that she is your mermaid guide. And she swims up to your rock and greets you with a warm smile. She holds out her hands and invites you to put your hands in hers. And she assures you that you are safe, and as long as you are with her, you will be taken care of, and you will have everything that you need to get what you need from your journey. So you take your mermaid guide's hands, and she gently coaxes you into the water. The water is warm, almost bathtub temperature. And you feel comfortable and relaxed as the warmth of the water laps up around you. You feel invited into this body of water, and you feel safe. As your mermaid guide brings you deeper and deeper into the water, you feel yourself losing contact with your rock, and you feel yourself floating gently on this body of water. And as you float, you feel the anticipation of where you will be taken next on this journey. So your mermaid guide invites you to submerge yourself. And she takes your hand and you let yourself dip beneath the surface of the water. And as you dip beneath the surface, you realize that you can see very clearly, and you can even breathe in this warm, gentle, relaxing, supportive body of water. So you're swimming with your mermaid guide, and she brings you to this wall. It's a strong, straight rock wall that extends deep into the water, deep down, all the way to the bottom. And she's guiding you along the wall. And as you go deeper, you realize that there are markers at each level of this rock wall that show you things about the past year. So the first marker you come to as you submerge down a little deeper are the milestones that you have experienced in the past year. So you pause at your milestones, just floating there in the water, fully supported. And as you pause, just take note of what big milestones happened this year. You see your birthday, Maybe you see the birthdays of friends or family. And you see other transition points, some that are obvious and some that are maybe a little more subtle, that would have gone unnoticed if you hadn't seen them on the wall. So take note of the milestones that are significant to you, and thank your milestones for being the markers along your journey. And allow your mermaid guide to take your hand again and guide you deeper along the wall, deeper into the water. And as you dive a little deeper, she slows down at another marker on the wall. And this marker are the challenges that you experienced this year. So just take it all in and notice what challenges you experienced and overcame throughout the past year. Notice what's showing up for you. Acknowledge how difficult some of those challenges may have been for you, and bless them for what they have given you. And now allow your mermaid guide to take you a little deeper. So you're diving deeper and deeper. And you come to another marker. And this marker is the marker of your hopes and dreams. And it starts with the intentions that you set out at the beginning of the year. The things that you had hoped would come to fruition, the dreams that maybe you carried into the year from past years. And these hopes and dreams are there to remind you of what you feel is possible and what your deepest heart's desires are. So take them in very deeply into your heart and allow them to reignite your desire. And now take your mermaid's hand, and as you do that, notice that as you dive deeper, you're coming almost to the bottom of this big, vast, warm body of water. But before you can get to the bottom, there's one more place to stop along the wall. One more marker. And that's the marker of surprises. So as you stop at this area on the wall that's showing you your surprises, the things that surprised you this year, just take note of what happened that you didn't expect to happen, what new things you learned, what things in your life turned out a little differently than the way you thought they would. And allow yourself to be delighted by the surprises that happened this year. And now your mermaid guide takes your hand, and it's just a short distance to the bottom. And as you reach the bottom and you feel the sand beneath your feet, you look up and you see this big, beautiful wooden chest. with copper bindings and screws. It almost glows with anticipation, and you know that it's holding some gifts for you. So your mermaid guide opens the lid of this big, beautiful treasure chest that has been packed just for you. And before you're allowed to look in, she stops you because she wants to present you with the gifts from your year. So the first thing she pulls out is a pearl. A beautiful, shiny, luminescent pearl. And she holds it in her hand, presents it to you, and you take it into your hands. And you know, as soon as you take hold of it, that this is the wisdom that you gained from this year. Hold that pearl to your heart and let that pearl inform your heart of the wisdom that you now have from all of the experiences that you've had this year. From the milestones that you've gone through, the challenges you've experienced, the hopes and dreams that may or may not have come to fruition, and the surprises that happened in your life. Take a moment to acknowledge that wisdom, to breathe it in and let it settle deep within your heart, and to know that it's there whenever you need it. Your mermaid guide beckons you to give her back the pearl so that she can put it in a beautiful velvet bag for you. She gently puts it in the bag and then goes back to the chest to get your next treasure. She reaches in and she pulls out a bright green, glistening emerald, a flawless emerald, and she brings it over to you and places it in your hands. You take this beautiful big green flawless emerald, this brilliant green emerald, and you hold it close to your heart, and you know that this emerald is the healing that you experienced this year. And as you hold this emerald to your heart, breathe in that healing experience, the healing energies that you have worked with throughout the year. And allow those healing energies to circulate through your body and to settle in so that you know that you always have access to the activation of healing that has happened in your life this year. And when you're ready, give that beautiful, brilliant green emerald back to your mermaid guide. And she places it in the velvet bag. Then she moves back to your treasure chest, reaches in again, and she pulls out an enormous deep blue sapphire. She brings it over to you, places it in your hands, and you know, as soon as you feel it, that this is the courage that you gained this year. Hold that sapphire to your heart and feel how much courage you developed to deal with and overcome the challenges in your life, to see your dreams to fruition, to dare to hope, and to allow surprises to unfold. Let that courage course through your vein as you acknowledge how far you have come because you have been courageous. And now give that huge, deep blue sapphire back to your mermaid guide. And she takes it from you, puts it in the velvet bag, goes back to your treasure chest, reaches in and pulls out the most brilliant, clear, bright, shiny diamond that you have ever seen. She brings it over to you, puts it in your hands. And as you take hold of it, you know that this is the strength that you gained from living courageously and healing and integrating the wisdom that you experienced this year. This diamond feels solid. And as you put it to your heart, you feel how the strength that you have gained fortifies every single bone in your body. You feel stronger. You feel like you're standing taller. And you feel like the challenges you've endured, which caused you to develop the wisdom and to heal and to become courageous, are all embodied in this strength that you have now. You feel invincible. Take that in and allow each bone in your body to integrate that strength and to integrate that invincibility. Now give that diamond to your mermaid guide and allow her to place it in your velvet bag. And as she does so, she pulls the drawstring on the bag to seal up your gemstones. She places the bag in your hand. You hold onto it tightly, knowing that these are the gifts that you will retain from this year as you go into the next year. Now your mermaid guide takes you by the hand, and you slowly and steadily ascend to the surface of the water. And as you come to the top of the water, you see your rock, that strong, stable rock that supported you as you awaited this journey. Your guide assists you in returning to the rock safely and soundly. And then she bids you a warm farewell for now. As you lie on the rock, you feel the sun drying you off. And you feel the gratitude in your heart for the gifts that you have gained and retained from this year. Now allow your awareness to come back from your journey so that you can feel yourself within your physical space. Feel your feet on the ground, wiggle your fingers, and open your eyes when you're ready. Take a few moments to make some notes about the wisdom that you now have from your experiences of the year, the healing that you gained and you received from the year. The courage that you exercised and the strength that you now have to move forward into the next year. All right, is everyone with us? Okay. We've got, how many people do we have on? I'm going to break us up into rooms.
Not.
And if you're, what we'll do is, Amanda, if you can just, everybody can share, especially the strength that you got from the year and from the culmination of the last 9 years. And if you can, we'll take notes on the strengths that we're bringing through for our collective journey and our individual journeys into the next cycle. So, well, I wanted to just share some of the themes while Dara's writing there that came up in terms of strengths. You know, Molly brought up a good point again about how it's a process of becoming, you know, that maybe the strengths aren't here. And then even in the talk, her talking, and Kelda, you're sharing as well, it became apparent that one of the strengths that we're taking collectively into the year and also on an individual level is this strength of the recognition of ourselves and our power as who we are in each step that we take, and what that means in terms of what we need to be nourished along our path and nourished in our creativity. So what about in your room, Amanda?
We talked about courage to trust life and that it is unfolding exactly how it should be. And there's tremendous wisdom in trusting life.
Mm.
Diane brought up something really good that we might want to take away and think about. She thought that she loved the part about finding delightful things when we dove down and the mermaid brought us all of our gifts. So she said to think about asking ourselves, how were we delighted? And I'm going to add this part, Diane, what might have been some surprises that came from the gifts when you received your pearls and your sapphires and diamonds and all of that. I'm trying to think. Most of this came in. Most of it was mostly the trust. Power came through for me as well. Knowledge is power. Time is infinite. You are whole, strong, and powerful. Told me for my courage to stand up for myself and retain my power, which I have the personal power issues sometimes, and that that we're not victims, we're not alone, and we are supported. That was the strength, actually. The strength was you are not alone, you were supported. Which sometimes, you know, you get kind of knocked in the gut and fear kind of rises up. And you start thinking, you know, you're by yourself, and you're not. You know, even if you don't believe in something higher than you, there's always friends and there's always family. There's always somebody, even if it's not even expected. There's always somebody that comes, even if it's a stranger. I've had that happen before, where I'm like really, really down and thinking I'm all alone, and then somebody will come up to me in a grocery store and say something out of the blue, and I'm like, wow, hey, that was a message for me. So, you know, it comes in different ways. So
and can I add on to that, you know, just bridging the themes that came up in our group, you know, of we're supported, and we're also supported through the recognition of ourselves, that power that we have within ourselves to stand in our own sense of self-love and self-recognition is often kind of the catalyst that attracts the additional support or makes that support apparent to us, that we really are not alone. We have ourselves, we have the power of ourselves, and we're connected to all the other support that that is good and whole for us to have. And as Molly put it, there's this recognition of, what do I allow in that supports me?
Sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, thank you guys all for sharing and participating today.
Yeah. So let's move on to, Amanda, you did some research and some intuitive tuning into some things, some messages for what can set the stage for the next phase, the next cycle. So do you want to share about that?
Yes, I sure do, because I'm actually seeing the link with everything. I did a little bit of intuitive, I received a little bit of intuitive guidance, and I wanted to say how I phrased everything so I know. I actually asked for what is the guidance for the group for the best use of the treasures received from my last 9-year cycle. And I know we said in the meditation it was for the past year, but I really do think that it was an accumulative gift process where we received all these treasures.
Cumulative gifting.
Cumulative gifting. So what I received, and I'll preface because I don't know if everybody knows who I am, but I'm a human design specialist. If you don't know a lot about human design, it's actually like a combination of astrology and the I Ching and the chakras and some little quantum physics stuff thrown in, and a lot of other kind of modalities kind of all in one. And between human design and also the I Ching, there are gates that transit along with the planets and all of the other things that go on with astrology and such. And I actually received information about the gate 13. And each one of the gates have meanings. We all have this gate in our charts. It's either going to be defined where we kind of experience it in a kind of a fixed way, a steady way. It's not really wavering and unchanging. And then there's also, even if you don't have it colored in your chart, it would be open, or what we would call open. But what that means is you're going to come in and out of these energies of these gates and experience it in varying ways. So the gate 13 is actually the fellowship of man, or the gate of the listener. It brings in the energy for the natural listener who compels others to share their stories and secrets with them. People, even complete strangers, will tell someone with this gate anything and everything, personal information, just people just kind of randomly come up and share with people that have this gate defined in their chart, or if this gate is kind of an active, because we kind of go in and out of all of these gates throughout the years. Everyone needs to experience acceptance, acknowledgement, and appreciation in their journey through life. Having this energy is like being a magnet for those who feel disconnected and need someone to hear their story. They are also the storytellers and the story keepers. By hearing and bearing witness to the stories and secrets of others, it provides direction once the story is shared, helping people find their direction in life by acknowledging them, their efforts and challenges in the stories that they share. So they're kind of not just good listeners, they're also here to kind of listen to the stories, keep the stories secret if you need them to, share them when the time is right, and also be really good advisors. A lot of people that have this energy in their chart could be good healers, or therapists and things like that. So if you know somebody in your life, I'm sure everybody hopefully has a good listener in their life. They're ones that you go to kind of share your experiences, and a lot of times they'll just be there for you and provide support, or sometimes they're actually going to give you some direction and guidance, and maybe bring it down to not being this huge chaotic event down to what you can see, the treasures in the experience that you're having. It also holds the energy to bring people together. It's about the fellowship and sharing, how a gathering of individuals can come together and function as a harmonious whole through sharing and collaboration. Working together toward common goals strengthens the connection between people and enriches the larger community. So it's also about gathering with people instead of just being by yourself, which, I actually had You're Not Alone and with my diamond, actually, with the strength. So there's actually strength in actually gathering with others like we're doing today. So it kind of, especially if we have common goals, and it's easier to withstand hardships with the support of the community, and joyful moments in life are even sweeter when they can be celebrated with others. We do need each other. So we all are able to kind of interact when this gate is around in the transits, or if you have this gate defined, or you encounter somebody else that has this gate. You're just kind of, what I got was that we need to kind of be aware of the benefits of being a good listener, and also being aware of sharing of stories and keeping stories sacred. The guidance that I received was through some questions, actually. Are you still feeling wounded from past disappointments and hurts? Have you set up boundaries or walls as a means of self-protection? Do you insist that you need nothing and are completely independent? The lesson of Gate 13 is learning from the past, not holding on to the past or shutting yourself off out of fear of repeating the past or opening yourself up to more hurt. In order to move forward, you must open up and connect more intimately with others. If you have been struggling or meeting resistance in your life, it's time to knock down the barriers that keep you from fully receiving the support of others. The best use of your treasures, this was the guidance I received, is to develop the self-love you must have first in order to feel and receive from others. No one can give you these qualities, and no one keeps you from these either. It's an inside job. You can do this by forgiving and forgetting all that has hurt you in the past. I'm going to put in 9 years, and made you doubt your lovability, because that's what it kind of comes down to is you're doubting your lovability, and somebody accepting you or hearing your stories. And you having that fear of being hurt or disappointed or let down or being left alone or being shut out. Realize that hurt and disappointment, that hurt and disappointment are inevitable parts of the human learning experience, and forgive and forget the past. You have survived, you've hopefully learned, and now it's time to move on and love yourself fully. Start by appreciating who you really are and acknowledge what's lovable about you.
Awesome.
And to be quite honest, when I was gathering this information, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to mesh with the treasures necessarily, or meditations. I wasn't sure how it was going to play out with the treasures that we received. When we went diving with the mermaid, but I can see some definite correlations with mine, especially like knowledge is power. You were safe, stand up for yourself, and you're not alone. Mm-hmm. So thinking it or looking at it in that way, and bringing in the part about forgiving and forgetting and letting go and moving forward with self-love and knowing that you are lovable, I think can help. That was something that we did talk about in the other chat, was that the trust part, trusting yourself, trusting in others, trusting that they're not going to hurt you if you are vulnerable. Because when you bring down those walls that they're talking about, protecting yourself, you're really only hurting yourself. But it's kind of scary to drop those walls and receive. And that's something that I have noticed that I have to work on a lot. I don't even receive compliments very well. So, opening the doors, opening your heart, realizing that you are lovable. Everyone is lovable. Even if the past has shown you maybe you don't think that you are, it all kind of comes down to what you believe and what you expect with that.
Yeah, I've got something coming through about that.
Okay, go for it, Sandy.
Yeah, the walls are the stories that have come out of our perceptions of how we got to where we are. So I'll add another question to that. What stories, and this is why the Gate 13 was a great one for you to pull out. What stories are you still holding on to that are keeping you from yourself and from your understanding and connection with others? And I think we see this on a collective level, Kelda, as you brought in. We've got such division in our world, and the being a good listener is so great, but sometimes we're so busy hearing our own stories and we don't even realize they're stories, until we take some time like this to go back and look and examine, okay, this is what happened. This was my perception. Is it really accurate? And, and then we can clear that out so we can hear. And it brings down those walls between us and others and those walls in our hearts. And so, that's just, and here's the one thing I back before half of you were on, I was in the middle of a train of thought and I forgot it. And that's been my experience as I've walked through, especially this last year of this cycle, is that it's so much easier to just let what was here a second ago go. In terms of forgiveness, it's about just, for me, it's so much easier just to turn it over and to just neutralize my opinion about it or whatever and forget about it, and realize that it just doesn't exist anymore. I've resolved it. I've let go of that wall. I've dissolved that wall, and that's it. Yeah. Byron Katie. Kelda says, Byron Katie's, is it really so? And you know that it's true. Yeah. So,
awesome.
So is that what what we're working with as we go into the next phase? Move into the phase?
It was the guidance for how we can best use our treasures.
Awesome.
So the reflections that I received, and these are questions again for you, and I will post these on Facebook, were, what can I do to listen and truly hear others better? What do I need to hear and listen to my own? What do I need to do to hear and listen to my own guidance better? Do I see the truth of my past? And what pieces from the past do I still need to release?
Yeah.
Because it's easier said than done sometimes to let go of the past and forgive and forget. But it gets easier the more that you let go and let things flow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And Kelda says we all certainly need to be listening. And I agree.
And listening to ourselves first,
listening to ourselves, because so you and I talked about was another one of the gates, was the 63 with the doubt coming in and the self-doubt. We're going to be going in and out of that gate all
Neptune
next year. And so it's going to be something to kind of look at. And then what I would suggest, and what just came to me, was if you do start getting to a place of doubting yourself, to reflect back. One, I would suggest looking back at your treasures and what you can gain from the messages that you received when you received each one of those gifts from your mermaid. And two, what kind of guidance do I need in order to listen and to be still and to trust that you are not alone and that you are supported in one way or another, some shape, form, fashion. I don't believe that we're just thrown on this earth without support. We have community as part of the coming together with the Fellowship of Man, the Gate 13. We have storytelling. You know, you can not be alone just by reading a book or watching a movie.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of ways you can just run into somebody random and share. You can come together with your friends through an invitation. You be invited to something through work. I mean, there's all kinds of ways. Even if you live by yourself, you're not married, you don't have a significant other, there's somebody in your life somewhere, someplace, somehow that is there to support you.
Yes.
If you will trust enough to open up and receive.
Yeah.
So I will post on.
And can I just go back, because I know most of the people on this are tapped into human design. Trust yourself to open and receive and listen to your authority as things come to you, because you're either probably generators or projectors, and we all have that strategy to wait for something. And
waiting.
So, and the waiting part is actually the receptive part. So, you know, and when it comes, the authority part is the discernment part. Of, like, as you said, Molly, about, you know, who do I let in? What energies do I let in? And how do they affect my creative process? So, you know, for me, this year has been about getting clear that the next steps forward for me are about collaboration. And that's how Amanda and I have come to begin the beginnings of this joyful, vibrant life community that we have, that is not only just about human design, because we both have a passion for that, but it's about really paying attention to the energies and using them to empower and enliven and energize us as individuals and as a collective. So you're going to be seeing more from us with that, and we want to continue to create programs. I'll send you an email after this to, if you're not already part of the Joyful Vibrant Life community on Facebook and you want to be, I'll send you the link for that. We're going to be probably communicating on at least a quarterly basis, right? If we're, you know, with a newsletter, and we're also taking gratitude offerings, because we don't want money to be a barrier for you to participate in things like this with us and with other people. And we want to be able to continue to offer things and to build and grow. However, if you want to exchange, we would accept with gratitude money or any kind of support. Whether you're sharing it with other people or taking what you get here and using it to help other people, those types of exchanges are all exchanges of gratitude. So, and if you do at some point feel called to donate money for whatever event that you're at, we are taking that to build on what we already have, because at some point we're going to have to invest money in some sort of technology. But at this point, we just want to keep it going out in the way that we can and keep sharing and connecting and growing our tribe and our group. So we really appreciate that you're here and that you want to participate and you've made the effort. Carrie says, thank you all so much. Really enjoyed this. Wishing you all a joyful and magical 2017. She has to go. So thank you, Carrie. Thank you for being on. And if the rest of you feel complete, I think we are complete for now.
Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, I appreciate
the meditations were awesome.
And I appreciate you guys coming and participating.
We're excited. When we first got on, it was just the two of us going, oh, what are we
Is
going to do?
anybody coming? Yeah, because the times are really confusing.
We'll try to do better with that.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for hanging on.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. And you will get kind of a cleaned up recording of this.
Yes.
And I said in the beginning, we're going to put out a really clean recording on YouTube. So anything that you shared here personally will not go on that recording out for the public, but it will be on the one for our community, unless you ask me otherwise before I clean it up. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy New
It's an
Year.
honor.
Thank you.
And everyone have a wonderful New Year's Eve, a safe New Year's Eve, and we will, more to come in 2017.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.